Alright, so let's move forward here. Got these painted the other day. And I need to move forward with the rest of this cab. I did put some filler on some of this stuff off camera. I'll get that sanded real quick here, and then I want to get this all primed, and then I believe that will be the final coat of primer. I still don't know if I'm going to be able to get these things off. I may have to just mask them off and paint around them. I don't know, but I'll try and work on that. It could take me several hours just to try and get those stupid things off. They're all really frozen on there, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. Figure that out. Real quick, some of you guys might be tuning in a little bit later in this video series, and I'm going to go over this real quick, how these were built. And this is to the best of my knowledge. I don't really know everything about them. There's not a lot of documentation on them, because again, it is a very uncommon. It was very common back in the day. These were they were everywhere, working in Germany and in most of Europe. And they were used for lighting and stuff like that with this lift on them. And there's none left because they rusted out pretty much, because they were just used every day. But the original color when it left the factory, as far as I know, was gray. And what they called that was a primer. So when I decoded this M code, I think it said primer. And so it was intended to be L261, which is a gray paint that they also used, which is what they kept on the interior, which is this color here. And this, what I painted here, it's just gotten overspray on it. I just painted that real quick just to get something on that part before I put it on, other than the green that's on here. So again, I think I read on there that that was decoded as left in primer. So they were intended to get painted another color afterwards, and the best of my knowledge, they always were orange. So this one here obviously got painted several times. Looks almost like a school bus yellow kind of color. I don't know what it was. It's been repainted so many times. It's had paint globbed on it so badly that it's, you know, that's what's on here. Somebody tried to protect it. And again, that probably did help it not rust completely to the ground. That's probably why it's still alive today. So the inside of this would have been L261 gray, which is what it's going to go back to. And then what they did is they painted the outside orange at a different facility. I don't know if it was a factory facility, if it was at the city or county that it got to, or wherever, but they were always painted orange. So I don't know if they painted the hubcaps orange. I don't know if they painted everything. They just painted over everything orange. I don't really know. I didn't have the original emblem for the front, so I don't know what color it was underneath. But all the jams, it looked like to me like they just shot orange on it, and then whatever fell inside the jams, that's what got painted orange. And you know, because it was just a work vehicle, nobody cared. It had to be orange for it to be in use. So that's why I'm going back to orange, even though it left the factory primer, they called it, gray. And you know, because when it was used as an orange vehicle. It was not used as gray. So that I know of ever. So there's been a restoration on another one that when they did it all gray, and that's not the actual original color from my research. And from what I could tell, the bumpers were all white underneath. So probably it left the factory with just plain white bumpers, and then they got painted with this candy stripe stuff after at the other facility, wherever that was. So I'm not certain whether this part of it was made in the factory or not, because it was gray. So it seems to me like that might have been done in the factory. Why would they have painted it gray and then painted it orange? I don't really know. But I'm actually going to paint the inside all gray, and then I'm going to paint the outside all the way in the door jambs out to here orange, and the door jamb here will be orange, so that when you're inside the car, all you'll see is gray. Well, when you're outside, you open the door up, you'll see orange here. That's why I did the doors like that. Because normally, from what I could tell, the orange the gray that's on there, it was just overspray orange inside the jamb, and they just left it that way. And like I said, because it was a work vehicle, nobody really cared. But we have a different life today for this vehicle. It's not going to be probably sitting outside like it was. And so it's restored. It's going to be restored to mostly for, looks than anything else. I don't know if it's ever going to get used. I may use it somewhat, but I don't really know how much I'm going to use it. And I don't know from where it goes from me. It will probably not get used as a bucket truck at all. Other than, it could be, raised up as a display somewhere or something like that. It's not, it's not going to be, probably going to be used as a bucket truck, but it's going to have the bucket trucks on it because that's what it was originally. And the reason I'm going back to the orange again is because that's how it was used. It wasn't ever used as a gray truck. So I figure doing a proper restoration would be to take it to orange, other than, if I was trying to do it like it came out of the factory, and I'd do it gray with white bumpers, but that was not how it was used. So if I do it orange with the candy cane bumpers, that would be more traditionally how you would see one on the street in Europe. So that's what I'm doing. I've actually talked to some of my friends who are older, who actually saw these who are German, who actually saw these in Germany, and they said that that's how they were. They were orange with candy cane bumpers, and you'd see them around, and it was just, they were just there. Nobody really thought about it back then, but that's how they were. So that's what we're going to go back to. That's why I'm doing it that way. I might have put this in other videos, but I thought at this point, since we're getting to paint, that's what we want to get everybody understanding why I'm doing it that way, because that's how it was used. Try to keep that light out of your eyes, but anyway, it's yeah, I mean, really could use like a lot more work, but I don't think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do some more down here, maybe some of those little edgy pieces to kind of make them look like they're all one piece. Some of that stuff down there doesn't look very great, but like I said, it's got a matte in there, but I'm gonna go through and sand it all. I don't know, I'm just debating. I don't think I really want to do another coat of primer after this. I think I'll just use the spray bomb touch up and then just paint it, but there's still a lot of sanding to do here. I was thinking about trying to get this thing painted in this video, but I don't know, I guess you have to stick around for that. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know. There's a lot here to do. A lot of work to do on the floors, and you know, I like I said, I didn't want to take this wiring harness out because it's got all those wires there. I'll have to figure all that out. It'd be a nightmare. I mean, I could do it, but it'd just take a lot of time. I don't want to spend all that. So anyway, the floor, look how much better that looks though. Sanded really good. And this primer really is a good encapsulator too. It's actually really good. Once it's painted, it could hold out even rust for a long time. But we're not going for that. We went ahead and treated it all beforehand, so the rest is pretty much dead. There's still probably something down there, you know. I mean, shoot, there's a lot of rust in this thing. So, but anyway, yeah. Well, I got to sand all the dash. I got to sand everything down. Got my little patch up there. Like I did. Still got to do. Didn't prime that. I only primed that with a spray can up there. I'll just do it again. I don't know how much I'm going to do to it. It's kind of crazy. There's a lot here. I mean, there's so much work in here. I could just spend days in here. I could spend easy 2 weeks in this thing trying to make it look good, but I'm not going to do that much time. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to leave and what I don't want to leave and all that. Yeah, but look how much better it looks than it did. You guys remember, inside of this thing was completely just rust everywhere, holes. Yeah. It's saved most of the metal, so it's original. It looks pretty good. I think once I get it final sanded, I'll debate what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go through here and start sanding it. And I'll just decide what I'm going to do from there. Just kind of call it at some point, right? Okay, good enough. Paint it. Right? Anybody ever been there? But that's what I'm going to probably do. I don't know. We'll see. I still got to sand and prime the back. I'm going to sand this all down. I really want to have this sanded and primed before I paint inside there too. I have this. Got to strip all that off there and sand everything. Just going to sand this. I'm going to go right over that primer. It's that weld through primer. It's on there really good. I don't know what that stuff is, but it actually welds pretty nice. I did notice, if you didn't notice, that I said when I drilled through that, the green, you guys are wondering, when I drilled through the green, it was much harder to drill than this. So it's a really hard steel they use at Classic Fab. It's really hard. It makes it a little bit, that's probably why the doors were so stiff. I think if they use the regular steel, it would flex more, and that stuff's just so rigid. But I mean, it's good as far as sturdiness goes. I mean, if you put those green tops on here, man, it'd be so sturdy. You can just throw stuff in there, put an engine in there. No, you better not do that. Throw an engine back up in there. Now, it probably wouldn't even dent it that easily. It's really hard to dent that green metal. So anyway, we'll talk a little bit later. Well, let's take a look at what we got here. I'm not going to do much to the top of this because the lift is going to be on this part of it, and you know it's going to get some. I mean, I'm going to do just like where the seams were. Let's see, this I'm not going to do anything with. I'm just those little spot welds and stuff. I'm going to fill all the ones that are voided, where I missed a little spot in the weld or whatever, and like that there I'm going to fix. And the waviness, it's going to be there. I think that's like, it's a truck, you know, and it just looks like weird if it's, you know, too cherry. I mean, if I was going to put gates on it and I was going to make it into a show truck that I never used, I probably would never do that, but then I'd probably clean up the edges. Probably not, because I think anything, you know, I like to make anything that I do to where it can be used, and you know, that's the whole thing. If it's just all show, then the truck, you know, it doesn't get used, it's, you know, it's not happy to me. I mean, unfortunately, I don't think this thing's going to get used much, just because but it's just something that's so, you know, it's a part of history that, you know, they use these all the time in Europe, and I think in England as well. I think somebody commented that. I don't know, but I know that in Europe they use them, and I mean all over Europe. I mean, even in, you know, North Europe and stuff like that. I think Sweden, Switzerland, stuff like that. I think they used them there. But there's none left because they got used, and you know, they just rusted out. Like I said, there's nothing in the middle. They just rusted out, and then cities didn't care. And they, you know, like here in the U.S., a lot of times the old trucks get sold, but probably when they were done with them over there, they couldn't even meet inspection. And I know that Germany has real crazy inspection rules and laws, and it was probably going to be like so expensive to try and fix one of these. It's somehow this one sat somewhere where they didn't see it or something, and because if I don't know what the whole rule is on it, maybe some of you guys do, you can put the comments down there, that they, you know, they don't want old cars over there. A friend of mine lived there for a while. He's a Volkswagen guy. He was my parts guy for many years. He was he retired from the Volkswagen dealer, and he was in the war in Germany, not in the war, but he was there for military. He was in the military, and so he learned about Volkswagens when he was over there. So a lot, you know, he learned a lot about Volkswagens over there, and they were everywhere. And you know, that's where he got his job at the dealer after that. So he was just telling me about some of the inspection laws and stuff like that. I don't know if it was true, but he said that, you know, older cars, it was more expensive to register an older car because they just wanted them off the road. I don't know the whole details on that. Yeah, I got this side. Well, I got some issues right there. I still didn't work out of it. No big deal. That's what guide coat and primer's for. Helps you find all that stuff real easy, so I don't spend too much time on it. If you notice, I did the lines this time. I just use a saw blade. Sometimes I do that. I have a whole bunch of hacksaw blades. I got them many years ago at Harbor Freight. Probably bought a batch of these when a big old box of them was like, I don't know how much, at Harbor Freight when I was like 18 years old or something. I never have used them all up. You know, it's pretty. Here's a clue, made in China. Before I paint inside, I kind of want to have a lot of this issue stuff worked out. I don't know. I don't really want to do too many coats of primer on the outside before I paint the inside, or after I paint the inside. Might have to do one, but I don't want to do 2 or 3 or 4 coats of primer. I'm not going to do that many anyway, but you know what I mean. So I'm going to fix up those things, finish that up. That's all AG47 can go over. clean up a little bit of this with some of my, I mixed the AG47 and the Pro Glaze. These have like, these are supposed to be like their system together. Use the AG47 and Pro Glaze, and the Pro Glaze, well, they have a new name for this now. It's got a different part number, so you have to ask for it. The Pro Glaze has similar properties, and I've mixed them together sometimes to make a medium compound, because both of those expect to go over sanded paint and stuff like that. So they're really good adhesion, high adhesion rate products. And so I mix them together to make different consistencies. You have to make it thicker or thinner or whatever. If all Pro Glaze is really, really thin, and then all AG47 might be too thick for some things and doesn't spread smooth enough. So you add some of them together, and man, it really spreads down really nice and easy some places, and it just has a nice fill for minor stuff. So I'm doing that. I did that on the second coat. I did that off camera on the quarter panel, on the little, on that thing, whatever it is, just for the low spots. Just kind of finished it up with that. So little tricks there. You know, I don't know. There's tons of them. I couldn't teach you guys all of them. There's so many of them I know from years and years. I'm just trying to show you what I know when I think of it. So we'll just keep moving on. Right, I thought I'd do a little bit of portion on these things. I thought maybe I could just get these painted real quick, but I wanted to make sure that they are fitting. So I went ahead and set them on here. Now I know that this hinge right here, my hinge cavities are a little bit off. I already knew that was going to happen. There was just no way I was going to get those perfect with trying to make them into the corners the right width, and just too much guesswork in there. There's, you know, if I tried to measure it and get it perfect, it would probably be even worse. So I've got these on here, and I got this one loose because I'm gonna have to shim it. That's the issue. And it shuts a little bit tight. I'd say just a little bit tighter on the bottom still. And this gap's wider here and narrower over here. So it should be up about right there, right? And then it's hitting. So I think what I'm gonna do, I got this porta power out. This thing is just setting in here. So it's definitely not all the way in either. It's gonna fit. I can just tell it's gonna go together. But yeah, so I'll just I think I'm gonna go ahead and right here, see, it's a little bit tight, so it's telling me it just needs to go out just about a 1/16 or so. So I'll just stick the porta power back in here. I set it up there once, get back up here, and then I'll just crank it out. I'm not know where handle is right now, but it's around somewhere. All right, guys, I was gonna take these out and paint them today. I thought, well, I'll just line them up, make sure they line up, and take them out, paint them orange. But really, I think what I need to do is this door and this one here fits so bad. Well, it's hanging down right now. I don't know why it's not screwing in all the way. Got to figure all that stuff out. It's just going to take a lot of time. So this one back here lines up pretty good. Up there, pretty terrible. And that's not going to work. So anyway, it's not a big deal. It'll just take a little bit of time to fix, you know. People look at that. Part of the problem is if you look at the bottom of the door, it goes in at the bottom. So I need to tweak that out. And I was having trouble with this door. Remember, this one here was really bad shape. I knew that it was going in like that, and I was trying to straighten it. I put it on blocks and tried to do it, but I think I got to do it on the car. I have to like put a block on here and then push it down, probably crack some filler. Who knows? Just whatever it does, and you just fix it. No big deal. It's just what you got to do. And then I got to do this with the hinges. I want to make sure that they don't look terrible either. So I'm going to bring this up with a bit of filler right here. Kind of reach our fillers limit, right? I don't care. Work on that and get this to line up. Get that to line up. And this one here, same thing. And re-straighten this piece here. It's obviously not right. It's probably going outward is what's happening. Couldn't tell that when I was just sanding the filler. So I gotta have this thing on here to do it. Wish I had a latch. It'd be nice, but nah, everybody bought them all. I was at the swap meet, and this guy had like 3 of them, and he goes, "Oh, I sold them all for like 25 bucks." And I was like, "Oh, you." So everybody bought them and put them on the Samba for like $200 or something stupid. So I'm gonna make one. You know, screw it. I'm not gonna pay all that money for one. Probably gonna take a rear latch. I was talking about it to my friend already. Take a rear latch for the hatch. They're all over the place, and you can get those brand new if you want. And I'll just make it fit on here. The hardest part is getting to be able to put a wrench in there in that hole to make it fit. I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet, but I'm probably gonna do that and screw those people that want ridiculous amount of money for those things, so they can keep them or sell them to somebody, some other sucker. Won't be me. So anyway, this doesn't line up for crap, so that wasn't good. That was gonna line up better than that, but it'll line up. It's just gonna take some work. It's gonna take some time. Don't really have the time right now to do that. So I was just gonna get this done, shoot this video up for you guys to on painting those things, but it just didn't work out. Doesn't look like it. So I think what I'm gonna do, versus just painting the inside of this thing, which, you know, it's pretty much ready for the last sand and paint, is I'm gonna finish up everything around it and put another coat of primer on it. Let's check this out once, put another coat of primer on it. Get you guys back. Another coat of primer on the whole front nose, finish up the blocking on the roof, get that all primed out, and maybe in the back here for sure. And then maybe I'll still just continue on with this stuff. I don't know, but at that point I can actually paint the front, and I could continue blocking back here, because main thing is I just don't want to mask off everything a bunch of times. You know, it doesn't make sense to do that, to get the inside painted. It'd be almost nicer just to get the inside painted, you know, get the outside painted, and then just put the doors on and assemble. You know, that'd be the way to go. That might be what I'll do. I'm not sure. Some of this stuff will be painted. I could probably paint that thing, but I don't have the bolts for it. So I want to put it on and make sure it fits first, and then paint it. Makes it smart, in it? So anyway, that looks pretty good. How about that? Yeah, it looks pretty neat. It's amazing. This thing was just junk 6 or 7 months ago. Completely trash. It was totally not even savable. Now it's going to be a driver pretty soon. I'll make it look good. I'll get all that. I'm going to fix up all those little things and make them like this side. Right? That looks good. Need to shim it though. So there's stuff like that going on. I've got issues with the something just slightly out of square. It's the 16th. You know. And it probably pulled when I was welding stuff. Who knows? You know, that's what happens. I'll just get the porta power out, straighten it out, and get it all to work. That's not a problem. It just takes time. All that stuff takes time. Can't just whip it out real quick. Not gonna work that way. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let's see what you guys have to say. We'll get the single cab back on the road. Talk to you soon.